ready. Have your hands on.
Okay, so, excuse me.
Yeah, use a hand model.
Okay, everyone look up here. Shh. Now, typically linear systems, there are three different methods of solving them. One is by graphing, one is by elimination, and one is by substitution. I'm only going to be teaching the graphing method. Only going to be teaching the graphing method, okay? So, in this case, we'll take a look here. Example number 1. Okay. Now, in this example, as you can see here, you have two equations, okay? You have two equations. Graph the following lines on the same grid and identify the coordinates of the points of intersection. Now, points of intersection, as I said before, it is point of intersection. If you look back on the side here, point of intersection, that's the point where two or more lines would cross over or cross at each other. Okay? Point of intersection, that's when two or more lines will actually cross or intersect with each other. So let's look at this part here. Now, the first equation here, y equals 1/2 x minus 3, it's already in the y equals mx plus b form. Remember, y equals mx plus b form. M is the slope, the plus b, that's your y-intercept. So in this case, this first line, they gave you in the y equals mx plus b form. It's awesome. We don't need to do much before we graph. However, this equation here is not in the y equals mx plus b form. So we want to arrange it. So I'm just going to copy it on the side here to make it bigger. So to rearrange it so that it's y equals mx plus b form, the y, I want to move this x from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, so I will just minus x on both sides of the equal sign. This x minus x, that will be 0. And on the left-hand side, now I only have y equals. On the right-hand side here, I have minus x minus 6, okay? Minus x minus 6. So in this equation here, it is already in the y equals mx plus b form. Now, for this equation here, y equals 1/2 x minus 3. Remember, the slope, the number right next to x, that is a slope. So the slope for this one, it's 1/2. And the y-intercept for this equation will be minus 3. Okay? So for this line, the y-intercept would be 0 minus 3. Because b here, that's y-intercept. Now, for this other equation, this one that I just rearranged, the slope, now you don't see a number next to the x, you see a minus sign, but remember, that's just a invisible 1. So your slope here will be minus 1, and your y-intercept will be minus 6. Okay? Minus 6. So for this line, the y-intercept would be 0 minus 6. Okay? Now, you're going to solve this problem by graphing, you will need, of course, to use graph paper or grid paper. Earlier, I asked you guys to pick up 2 pieces of grid paper. So if you haven't done so yet, there are still some in front of the overhead. Now, we're going to graph these 2 lines here. Now, one thing for you to kind of keep your eyes to look at is this. You know the y-intercept for this line is minus 0, minus 3. And this one here, the y-intercept is 0, minus 6. So what it means, they have two straight lines. But what I want to more emphasize, it's when you're setting up your graph, that's your x-axis, make sure your y-axis go down to at least minus 6. Okay? So you probably want to go down to 2 or 3 more. So y-axis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just for clarity's sake, just give a few more. Okay? So this is our y-axis. This is our x-axis. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here, that will be my minus 6. Oops, why did I put bracket? Okay. Here will be my minus 6. Okay. Are we okay? Because both equations, as we looked at earlier, both equations, the y-intercept, you have 0, minus 3, 0, minus 6. You want to make sure it goes down at least till minus 6. Okay, I have maybe 2 or 3 more. Okay. Questions? Now let's just graph this line here first. Y equals 1/2 x minus 3. So this one here, for this line, you know the y-intercept is 0 and minus 3. So let's do that. Minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. So here, that's minus 3. So in this case, so this will be my point here, minus 3. Remember, when you graph, use a cross, okay?
Wait, but 0 is always like the first number is always x.
What?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Now, you have the y-intercept, which is minus 3. You know the slope is 1/2. Slope of 1/2 means you have a rise of 1 and a run of 2. So you go from this y-intercept point, you go run of 2, 1, 2. Rise of 1, go up by 1. So our next point here will be here. And we want to be extra careful. We'll do another line point. Run of 2, 1, 2. Rise of 1, rise of 1. So you have this point here. Now with 3 points, we are pretty confident. So you will take your ruler or straight edge, and you want to make sure you draw a straight line cutting through all these 3 points. Okay? And at the same time, after you draw the straight line, you want to also kind of visually check for the further line. So 1, 2, up 1, that's good. 1, 2, up 1, that's good. Okay? So this line here would be the line y equals 1/2 x minus 3. Okay? I'm writing the equation here. That's the line here. All right. Now, in this case, we will, to solve this linear system graphically, we do need to graph both lines on the same grid. So in this case, for the second line, I have the y-intercept, which is 0 and minus 6. So again, 0 and minus 6 here. So that is my second point. Okay, 0 minus 6. And the slope of this line is minus 1. Minus 1. Now, this is a part where, like, you do remember your rise can be positive or negative, but your run will always be positive, at least for us when we're doing graphing from left to right. So in this case, you'll have a rise of minus 1, which is really a drop, and then the run of 1. Okay? So,
it's like going down.
yeah. So from this point here, the y-intercept, run of 1, 1, rise of minus 1, go down 1 point. So that's our second point. Let's do another one. Run of 1, rise of minus 1. Go down here. Okay? And let's just do one more just for the sake of it. And now draw a straight line very carefully. Make sure you cut through all these points. Accuracy is very important for this topic. Okay. So you draw a straight line right through it. So right now, the point of intersection, by the way, this, let me write down the equation first. Y equals minus x minus 6. Okay? So the point of intersection where the two line crosses would be right here, which is, if you look at the coordinates, minus 2, minus 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, minus 4. Okay? That is the point of intersection. So just to quickly summarize, you graph both lines using the y-intercept as well as the slope to do rise over run. You draw a straight line and make sure you find the point of intersection. Minus, for this one, is minus 2, minus 4. Okay? Now, you go back here to write down the answer. So, because you are solving this system by graphing, you will need to write down both answer. You will need to write down minus 2, minus 4. So that answer is minus 2, minus 4, or x equals minus 2, y equals minus 4. Okay? So at this coordinate, or when x is minus 2, y is minus 4, both equations will cross or will be true for both. Okay? So there are some homework that I'm going to ask you guys to do. You will need to use the grid paper for this. So let me just stop the recording